He co-founded a non-profit Reason and Science REAS project that aims to promote scientific literacy and critical thinking in the country. I'd like to welcome Raju to take the stage forward.
And as you already know, I'm the moderator for this panel. But before starting the panel, there are certain things that I want you to understand. So first and foremost, why fundamental sciences? Why not just sciences? The fundamental sciences is there for a reason. Okay, so today we will be talking about sciences in general, but the reason we were stressing about fundamental sciences, we are focusing on fundamental sciences is because in today's society, as you might not have thought about it, but because of innovation, because of the splits of waves of innovation and entrepreneurship, the fundamental core aspect, the technical aspect of research and development have been compromised. And we wanted people to understand that in research and development, any type of sustainable innovation, the fundamental aspects is very important, and because of that, we were focusing fundamental sciences in our discussion. Our panel discussion can be broadly divided into three parts. For the first part, we will be talking qualitatively about sciences, about fundamental sciences and applied sciences. In the second part, we will be talking about, as our panelists themselves are scientists, so they will be talking, they will be sharing their experiences about research and innovation that are happening in their field. And this discussion is more about the general layman discussion, so not just the typical technical thing. So they will be sharing many different things that are happening in different fields in sciences that will be of interest to you. And there are certain tweaks in our panel. After both the panelists are done with their answer, you will be given an opportunity to ask a question, but your question has to pass a moderation. So meaning that every question that you ask may not make up to the panelists. So you should try your best to ask the good question. Okay, so that is one thing. Before we finally start our discussion, let me wrap up the topic, the significance of the topic. So the discussion between fundamental sciences and applied sciences is more about asking the question whether we should be broad-minded, whether we should invest in the future, whether we should think for the collective good of humanity and risk everything at present, or shall we be more pragmatic? We should shall we build better toilets, better restrooms? Do we really need the next version of iPhone X without a notch? Our conversation can be wrapped up into asking this question to ourselves. Our first panelist is Dr. Suresh Kumar Dhungel. Mr. Dhungel is a senior scientist at Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, NAST. He has a PhD degree in engineering and a MSc degree in physics. His research field is nanotechnology and is currently working in solar radiation monitoring, dye-sensitized solar cell and energy conservation. He is leading a number of scientific projects throughout the country. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Suresh Kumar Dhungel. Our next panelist is Dr. Gopi Chandra Kafle. Dr. Kafle is an associate professor of physics in Central Department of Physics, Tribhuwan University. He has a PhD and an MSc degree in physics. His research interests include solid-state physics, material sciences, and nanotechnology. The specific topic being spin glass, Uslar alloys, and spinotrix devices. He has mentored a number of MSc and PhD students in physics. So, before starting the panel, I would like to pose one fundamental question to the panelists. I want the panelists to, as they already know about the topic, the scope of fundamental sciences in 20th century, and I have already cleared the motivation behind putting fundamental sciences in the topic. So, I want them to explain about what they think about the topic, like what is their perspective relating to science, what they want you guys to understand about sciences and about the interrelation between fundamental and applied sciences, their differences. So I would like to start with Dr. Dhungel first. So you may proceed.
Mr. Khatiwada, thank you very much for the question, and I apologize for being late today because of traffic jam and other different issues. And also I apologize for getting granted to skip early. Because you know NAST has got one condolence ceremony on the device of our academician Dr. Upendra Devgota at 3 o'clock. So as a member of NAST, it's my duty to be present there. But in short, I try to cover whatever question you pose to me. So the relevance of fundamental science in 21st century. Of course, fundamental science, as I understand, is the background, is the foundation of all the sciences. Therefore, its relevance never dies. And most importantly, when we talk about science and technology, or science, fundamental science versus applied sciences, we should very clearly understand that science, the fundamental science, is universal. Whatever we do, we discover, we invent, we put forward, we publish, it applies to the entire universe. So we call it universal science. Therefore, irrespective of caste, creed, place, locality, weather, so it applies to each and every condition. Therefore, fundamental science is a foundation, and its significance and importance remains always. And with some examples, I want to little bit elaborate it. There were two great geniuses of all times. Being a physicist, I chose a physicist as an example. Who will be in the scientific community who has not heard the name of the famous Albert Einstein and the Richard Feynman? Both were fundamental scientists, they were physicists, they both were theoretical physicists moreover. They hardly performed any experiment in the lab, and they both got Nobel Prize. In the late part of their life, they both settled themselves as American citizens, and they both were university professors. One was Princeton professor, another was Caltech, California University professor. They both were great, and they remain great in the heart and mind of all of us, and their discoveries, their findings are relevant for all times. Therefore, I believe the fundamental science remains very important for all times, and of course in 21st century as well. So this is my answer.
Thank you. Maybe you can talk something about the applied sciences as well.
Okay.
Because I was first. Okay.
Regarding applied science again, applied science or technology always has its base on the problem. Identify the problem and troubleshoot the problem. For troubleshooting, you require applied science, you require technology. Therefore, so science is based on the broadening the knowledge related to the secret of nature, natural laws, revealing the nature's law, whereas applied science or technology is based on problem-solving approach. And mind you, when you think of solving a problem is always local. So if you change the locality, you have a different problem. The problem in New York City is not same as the problem in Kathmandu. Therefore, the technology, the application of science that we should be thinking of should be based on the local problems. So that is how I take the basic difference. Again, to tell you the truth, you see, you have heard the name of Bill Gates. He was a Harvard dropout, not a PhD, not a professor. You have heard of the Steve Jobs, who is a Reed College dropout. Okay, he was not PhD, not masters, not a professor, not a Nobel laureate as well. But similarly, Thomas Alva Edison, you can add, who is a school dropout. You can think of the Nikola Tesla, DC and AC inventors, Edison and Tesla. He was just an engineer. But you see, their discovery, inventions have changed the world actually in real sense, right? So they are, in a way, you can say technologists or applied scientists. But their application of knowledge and the passion in science changed the world, in fact. Every one of us is getting benefit out of the discovery, the inventions done by the company of Bill Gates or the Steve Jobs. Therefore, to change our life, to make our life easier, the applied science plays a vital role. Whereas to change, to unveil, to disclose the secrets of nature, the fundamental science has a great role to play. So this is the basic difference I see, and both are great in their own sense.
own implications. Okay, we should not say which one should come first. So both are important, but one is a foundation, another is a building. So building can be of your choice, your need, but the foundation remains same everywhere.
Thank you, Dr. Dhungel. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, I think it's working.
Okay, Miss, I'm also along with Miss Dhungel sir. Actually, मैले चाहिँ दुईटा नेपाली इङ्ग्लिस दुईटै मैले मिलाएर भन्छु अलि सजिलो पनि होला बुझ्नलाई पनि होला actually fundamental science is no doubt it gives the how nature gives nature कसरी चाहिँ फर्मेसन हुन्छ कसरी कुराहरू चाहिँ आउँछन् त कसरी चाहिँ इन्डिभिजुअल थिङ्सहरू चाहिँ ग्रोन अप हुन्छन् ती कुराहरूलाई सामान्य रूपमा बुझ्नको लागि फन्डामेन्टल साइन्सहरू चाहिन्छ For example, on the magnetism if we discuss with the magnetic behavior of the materials, we have to choose the how that magnetism comes from. For example, spin, if we are discussing about the spin, and we know very well that from the spin means aspect of orbitals, and that comes from the orbital, that comes from the fundamental physics, actually. And how the orbital how the electrons move from one point to the other point. Means they always follow the physical dynamics, no doubt, not more than that. If we discuss about the molecular dynamics structure, means the kinetics of any kinds of materials, then we have to deal with that kind of things, means molecular dynamics. That is the fundamental physics. Kasari electron movement huncha, kasari electron movement huncha, kasari particles grown up huncha होला. यी सबै कुराहरू चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने fundamental physics दिन्छ. That's why fundamental physics is the base of the all kind of physics, all kind of not only kind of physics means once it's applied to the physics, it can easily be applied to the other kind of application, other physics as well. In the economics as well as other kind of factor you use fundamental physics. So the fundamental physics now the fundamental physics only will be applicable when it comes into the application point of view. Application आयो भने मात्र फन्डामेन्टल फिजिक्सको काम हुने गर्छ. त्यसकारण हाम्रो चाहिँ जुन जनरल फिजिक्स हो जुन चाहिँ फन्डामेन्टल फिजिक्स हो त्यो एप्लाइड भएर आयो भने फर इक्जाम्पल इफ यु आर टकिङ विथ द वाच घडीको लागि हाम्रो विचार इफ यु आर टकिङ विथ द मोबाइल हेऱ्यो भने मोबाइलमा what kind of material is suitable, that firstly comes into the fundamental aspect of the theoretical aspect. And theoretical aspect defines that this kind of material is working within this field and it can work within this kind of this kind of temperature. Means it works within this temperature range to this temperature range. यो रेन्जमा काम गर्छ भने हामीले थाहा पाउँछौँ फन्डामेन्टलबाट र यसको चाहिँ म्याग्नेटिक बिहेभियर यो छ भन्ने थाहा पाउँछौँ. यसले म्याग्नेटिक स्टोरेज डिभाइसहरू गराउन सकिन्छ. यसकारण हामीले म्याग्नेटिक स्टोरेज डिभाइसहरू गराउन सकिन्छ. द्याट्स वाइ यसले डेटा स्टोरेजहरू गर्छ. यो डेटा स्टोरेज गरिसकेपछि देन आफ्टर वी क्यान युज दिस मेटेरियल इन्टु द मोबाइल अर नट. अब त्यसले दिन्छ देन इट कम्स टु द एप्लिकेसन पोर्सन, द्याट इज द एप्लाइड काइन्ड अफ फिजिक्स. द्याट्स वाइ यहाँ एप्लाइड काइन्ड अफ फिजिक्सको मैले दुईवटा कुराहरू मैले फेरि यसमा के गरेँ भने applied fundamental physics more or less comes into the theoretical portion and applied physics comes into the application portion. यसमै application portion means more or less experimental one, experimental type मा त्यहाँ जान्छ. त्यस्तै मैले अहिले आइन्स्टाइनको एउटा चाहिँ पनि भने एउटा चाहिँ वर्ड छ उसले भनेको छ experimentists are never satisfied on his work but theorists are mostly satisfied on his work. theoristहरू एकदम satisfied on his work मा छ. किन छ भने उले सबै कुराहरू एकदम एटम खेलेर उले काम गरिरहेछ. उले हरेक स्पिनहरुमा खेलेको छ. स्पिनहरुका कुराहरू उले डिफाइन गरेको छ. उले चाहिँ फुल्ली कन्फाइन के छ भने यो मेटेरियल इज सुटेबल फर द फर्मेसन अफ मोबाइल डिभाइस, फर्मेसन अफ स्पिन टोनिक डिभाइसेस, फर्मेसन अफ एनी अदर काइन्ड अफ डिभाइसेस. र अर्को चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने एक्सपेरिमेन्टली के हुन्छ, ही नोज बेटर कि कहाँ उले मैले गल्ती गरेँ ती कुराहरुलाई एप्लिकेसन गर्दाखेरि कहाँ फर इक्जाम्पल 750 डिग्रीमा मैले गरेँ भने उले टेम्परेचर बढाउँदै जाँदा मेबी 100 डिग्री टेम्परेचरमा पनि जान सक्ने होला. मेबी अफ द्याट थिङ्स. द्याट्स वाइ मैले साइन्टिस्टलाई गरेर उनीहरूले यो के अरे आइन्स्टाइनको यो वर्डलाई युज गरेर फन्डामेन्टल साइन्स एन्ड एप्लाइड साइन्समा अलिक फरक पाउनु पर्यो.
Thank you, Dr. Kafle. So, is there any follow-up question related to this from you?
Yeah, I have a little bit rebuttal argument with Dr. Kafle. I contradict with it because theoretical physicists or theoretical scientists or fundamental scientists also have many instances of dissatisfaction in their life because
Because the fundamental science is not absolute truth. It's a relative truth. What you know may not be absolutely true for all times. Example, the Rutherford, the Bohr, Niels Bohr, he gave the atomic model. His own disciple was Sommerfeld. When Sommerfeld, put a correction in his model, Niels Bohr had once mentioned that I was at the peak of success in my career, and it would have been better to die at that moment. Why I survive and get disproved by my own disciple? So this gives the example that no science, whether it be fundamental or applied, is ultimate or absolute. It evolves with the time. You understand what I'm telling you? So what we discover today, what we invent today as the ultimate truth may not be the ultimate truth. Therefore, it keeps on evolving, and when your science is disproved by newer scientists, you will always have dissatisfaction in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's always true. So there is nothing called absolute in fundamental science also.
Okay. Yeah. I'm also I'm also with you. But that sentence means only I took that sentence from the Einstein's actual view. Okay. This is not my view. Even then, generally theoretists are more satisfied because they always play with the atoms, they always play with the real things. Real things means what is going on inside of the materials they play. But when it comes into the applied, no doubt means various restrictions are there, various models we have to we have to play with the various kind of restrictions. That's why more means theorists are more satisfied than that.
Let me add something to clear your point, Dr. Kafle. I think you were trying to explain in theoretical sciences, the scientists are talking about the ideal cases. But in experiments and applied sciences, we have to face the real world, and there are margin of error. So that was his point. That is what I thought you were after, right? Did I understand correct?
Yeah. By the way, Mr. Dhungel is related to the experimental one, and I'm related to the prediction. Means real theories. So no doubt there should be certain contacts with him and me. Even then, it is not only debate of Suresh Dhungel and Gopi Chandra Kafle. It is the debate of from the previous time. Scientists. So
we should agree to disagree to a certain extent.
Yeah, it is.
We are panelists, so we should make this discussion live.
Exactly.
I love theoretical physicists.
Okay.
And I want to be a theoretical physicist. But if I
oh yes, that's why I started
physics भनेको चाहिँ understanding of nature हैन.
Yes.
त्यसमा कुनै डिबेट छैन हैन. But अलि कम्प्लेक्सिटीमा अब जाने भने अब भ्याक्युम क्याटास्ट्रोफहरू हुन्छ अब भर्चुअल पार्टिकल एन्टिपार्टिकल नथिङबाट क्रिएट हुन्छ भन्ने जस्तो हुन्छ नि. त्यसमा चाहिँ अलि बढी नै यो वाइडमा चाहिँ
स्पेकुलेसन यु मिन दैट
I mean that त्यसमा चाहिँ अब
isn't it more abstract rather than something that might be interesting to us now?
It is interesting, but will the world be accepting the thought, the idea that I will be creating sitting in the one corner of the room and
you are talking about the anti-particle types or anything else?
I mean that
he's talking about the wild speculations of theoretical physics.
Yes, you might be sometimes you are right. Okay, किन राइट छ भने okay you can see and we can discuss. मैले त्यहाँबाट अलिकति मैले केबाट स्टार्ट गरेँ ल ठ्याक्कै अघि पनि अलिकति डिस्कसन भइरहेको थियो भाइहरुसँग. Okay, I'll start from the how evolved, how universe evolved at first. त्यहाँ हामी जाउँ न त. Universe evolved गर्दै गर्दा त्यहाँबाट दुईटा बिग ब्याङ स्टार्टिङ भयो. Big Bang हुँदै गर्दा what we expect हामीसँग when Big Bang started, then time and energy start to flow. Time and energy start flow हुन थाल्यो. टाइम पनि इनर्जी सँग स्टार्ट फ्लो हुन सक्यो. फ्लो भयो र त्यहाँ हाम्रो के हो भने दुईटै एउटा चाहिँ युनिभर्स भन्यो, एउटा एन्टी युनिभर्स भनेको छ हामीसँग. युनिभर्स भन्यो एन्टी युनिभर्स भनेको छ. युनिभर्स एन्टी युनिभर्स फार अवे फ्रम अस. इट इज नट र एनी एन्टी युनिभर्स र युनिभर्स जहाँ चाहिँ when कोलिज इनहेलिसन हुन्छ large amount of energy will be released, and in that sense then will be nothing will be in the vacuum state. Vacuum state हुन सक्छ त्यतिबेला. Vacuum means nothing. Vacuum also the something हुन सक्छ. Similarly case अब हाइड्रोजन जस्तो म्याटर छ, हाइड्रोजनलाई इलेक्ट्रोनले रिभल्भ गरिरहेको छ. यदि प्रोटोनले रिभल्भ गरिरहेको भने के हुन्छ होला? एन्टी म्याटर भन्छ होला. Means what? There's something भनेको यहाँ गोपीको एक्जिस्टेन्स छ भने देयर मे बी अफ द एन्टी गोपी पनि हुन सक्ला नि त द्याट मे बी द पोसिबिलिटी अफ द द्याट थिङ्स र अब त्यसले गर्दा साइन्सलाई कहाँ पुर्याउने होला साइन्सले कहाँ पुर्याउने होला त्यो कुराहरू नै डेभलप भएर जाँदै गर्दाखेरि अनि हामी चाहिँ एउटा डेस्टिनेसनमा पुग्ने द्याट मे बी एन्टी म्याटर पनि हुन सक्ने सम्भावना छ भाइले भनेको के हो मैले चाहिँ त्यहाँसम्म
Yes, your question looks like scientists live in, theoretical physicists live in fantasy, so that's abstract. But don't forget, without the proper mathematical formulation, it's not a science, it's not a dream, it's not an abstract thing. So you have to remember that. Okay, scientists claim something, fundamental scientists claim something, if and only if they have proper mathematical formulation of it. Okay, so this is not out of blue. Therefore, you should be very much convinced that fundamental scientists are not just dreaming and trying to portray as a science.
So, okay. To add to that point, so the algebra that was developed in 17th and 18th century, that is useful in today's computer science. So there was no any practical utility when algebra was developing in the 17th and 18th century. Isn't it?
No, there is two things. There is two things in the fundamental science. Mathematics is the most necessary. Mathematics कुनै पनि कुराहरु म्याथमेटिक्समा आइसकेपछि म्याथमेटिक्समा आउँछ पहिलो कुरो थ्योरिटिकल एस्पेक्ट आउँछ अथवा एक्सपेरिमेन्ट हुन्छ एक्सपेरिमेन्ट भएपछि म्याथमेटिकल भेरिफिकेसन हुन्छ दोस्रो कुरो पहिल्यै म्याथमेटिकल डेरा भइसकेको हुन्छ उसको फिजिकल मिनिङ थाहा भयो हुन्न र पछि कहिले कहिले त्यो युनिभर्ससँग चाहिँ नेचर भएर आउँछ त्यसकारण के हुन्छ भने म्याथमेटिक्स फिजिक्स बायोलोजी व्हाटएभर यु थिंक all are related with the fundamental physics. Fundamental physics also. For example, I am speaking, you are listening my sound. No doubt there is the transmission of the sound from my mouth to your ear. Means what? There is the some sort of the things is moving from I am the source from the source to the you are the observer. And के भन्नु त like observer. अब source बाट observer सँग जाने गर्दा केही त त्यहाँ गएको छ नि त. हो त्यो कसले डिफाइन गर्दियो? फन्डामेन्टल फिजिक्सले डिफाइन गर्छ. त्यहाँ छ. र अरु कुराहरु जब हामी चाहिँ एप्लिकेसन पर्सन जस्तै माइक बोलिरहेछ अनि फ्रिक्वेन्सी मोडुलेसन भइरहेछ त्यो चाहिँ के गरिरहेछ साइन्सले फन्डामेन्टल साइन्सले क्रिएट गर्छ र यो सबै मैले फेरि एप्लाइड साइन्सका कुराहरु यी सबै जुन आइरहेछ इन्स्ट्रुमेन्टहरु भइरहेछ दैट इज द एप्लाइड फिजिक्स
okay so as you can see most of the audience here they are young students so they are in the verge of making important career decisions. So oftentimes it happens that they decide something as that I'm going to study this for my life, but it turns out that after a few exams or after a few years they lose interest all of a sudden. And so the problem is like they do not have the qualitative understanding of the science itself. So what would be your suggestion to young students? Like what are the different areas to think about before finally choosing a career in science?
Okay, very good question for the youngsters. You don't just look at Albert Einstein or Feynman or Bill Gates at first to start the science. You should start always with why, how, when, what. These questions. Okay, you should have to have a curiosity in mind to know more and more about it. Number one, first and foremost. Number two, you should have to have all your sense organs very active and intelligent to observe the phenomenon around you. If you are thinking of becoming a scientist, whether it be fundamental scientist or applied scientist, doesn't matter. Okay? Because please do not confuse here. By telling fundamental science, we are not talking about theoretical versus experimental.
Exactly.
Fundamental science also has a very rigorous experimental part. Albert Einstein, just by deriving the photoelectric effect equation, didn't get Nobel Prize until it was proven experimentally. You understand? Therefore, fundamental science also has experiment as integral part of it. Okay? Theoretical part is one side, but until or unless it's proved and supported. You know Higgs boson? Very recently, you know, the Higgs boson was identified in Switzerland, but it was forecast by theoretical physicists long ago. Okay, so until or unless experiment verifies it, it's not considered as a foolproof science, fundamental science. Therefore, fundamental science also has experiment as a part. Therefore, for the young scientist like you, I suggest to keep your all sense organs very active, open. and always go with the why, how, when, what questions and try to get the answer of it. Okay? Ultimately, if you have that passion and that wisdom to go to become Albert Einstein, you will be. That's natural way of. But don't just think that I will be Albert Einstein. You will be yourself. Okay, in your own sense. Therefore, have a passion. Passion is a very important thing in science, and get dedicated. And it's, you see, there is no hard and fast track road for becoming a great scientist. You have to go step by step learning, and again learning and again learning. Means doing science, it should be your religion actually. You take science as your religion, you take science as your ideology. Okay? For a scientist, there should be no religion, no ideology. You understand what I am telling you? Albert Einstein was offered a position of a first president of Israel, and he rejected, saying that I don't want to be confined, a role model of Jews only. I am of everybody. So I reject your proposal to be first president of Israel, new country. Therefore scientists should have no, inclination to any religion or religious beliefs or any ideology. Scientists, religion is science. Okay, that's the ideology, that's the religion. That's what.
फन्डामेन्टल एस्पेक्टमा जाने हो, क्लियरली के कुरा हुँदैछ हामीले थाहा पाउने हो र किन हुँदैछ, नेचरमा के हुँदैछ, एकदम सिम्पल कुराबाट स्टार्ट गर्दै जाने हो र नो डाउट अब यो हाम्रो गोपी चन्द्रले भन्छन् लेक्चर गोपी चन्द्र लेक्चर त्यो त हामीले गर्दै जानु पर्यो, एकचोटि फेल खाइन्छ, देन आफ्टर अगेन यु हेभ टु डु द अनदर वान एक्सपेरिमेन्ट, यु हेभ टु डु द एक्सपेरिमेन्ट कन्टिन्युअसली, एक्सपेरिमेन्टहरू गर्दै जानु पर्यो र अब थ्योरीहरू पनि गर्दै जानु पर्यो र सरले भने जस्तै के भने फन्डामेन्टल फिजिक्स जुन हुन्छ, फन्डामेन्टलसिपले डेभलप गरेका कुराहरू हाम्रो चाहिँ एक्सपेरिमेन्टल रूपमा एप्लाइडमा नआएसम्ममा त्यसले चाहिँ मूर्त रूप लिँदैन। मूर्त रूप लिने भनेको अनि चाहिँ त्यस कारण हामीले के गर्नु पर्यो, फन्डामेन्टल कुराहरूलाई पहिला नबुझिकन फेरि साइन्स त यु क्यान अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड एनी काइन्ड अफ साइन्स। त्यस कारण मैले भाइहरूलाई के भन्नु खोजेको भने स्ट्रङली जाँदै गर्ने, फन्डामेन्टल कुराहरू साना इभेन्टहरूलाई गर्दै जाने। आइन्स्टाइन भएको पनि के अरे आँप कसरी तल खस्यो भनेको त्यही कारणले भएको फाइन्ड आउट गरे होइन, त्यसरी गर्दै जाने भने यो।
Okay, so let me conclude my the panelist points. So do you know about rat race? What do you know about rat race? Rat race. Musa ko like rat race. So the problem with the rat race is that even if you win, you will still be a rat, right? Being an Einstein should be a consequence. It must not be your end. So that's the thing. That's the point. So do you have any questions? Follow-up questions?
Rather than any questions related to the discussion, I have some questions related to science that is causing me. So I just wanted to ask that questions. So what I learned was when I was in school, one of the teachers he asked me that the Higgs particle, like it was recently that recently the Higgs particle.
It was experimentally found and it was speculated in 1964.
Exactly. So when the Higgs particle was found, and then there was a theory that in the universe there is a point or space where actually Higgs particle cannot exist, but human head can exist. Is that true?
But what can exist?
Human head.
Human head?
Human head.
Yeah. Human head.
Yes. That's what I mean. Like there's a point in the space where the Higgs particle cannot exist, but human head can exist.
Sorry, as a scientist, I want to show you the dharma of scientist. I am extremely sorry, I don't know the exact answer. Will you read it? Or I have not read it. And a scientist should always admit what he is not sure of. Okay? Goal model, हाम्रो classroom teaching मा हुन्छ नि, goal model उत्तर दिएर विद्यार्थीलाई झुक्याउने, त्यो गर्नु हुँदैन. As a scientist, we have to say in black and white. You know it for sure. If you don't know, you don't know. I don't know.
There are two kinds of forces in the nature. One is the short-range force, another is the
four forces. Four fundamental forces.
Yeah, there are four fundamental forces. Even
there are four fundamental forces.
Okay.
Yeah, continue your question.
Basically, they are divided into either short-range or long-range force, right?
Okay.
So, is there any medium or particle that actually connects these two forces?
Medium or particle? The general theory of relativity, it tries to explain the large-scale structure of the universe. The quantum theory tries to explain the small scale of the universe. So there is a kind of unification. Scientists believe that there has to be a common equation for both of these scales. So they are trying to develop a theory of everything so as to connect these two bridges. You are talking about the same
दुईटा एटमहरुको because the crystal structure the long chain हो. Long chain बन्दा भन्दै त एउटा चाहिँ एउटा युनिट बन्छ, अर्को युनिट बन्छ, अर्को युनिट बन्छ, long chain युनिटले चाहिँ फर्मेसन बन्ने कुनै पनि मेटेरियल फर्मेसन हुन्छ. मेटेरियल चाहिँ यदि दुईटा बीचको दुईटा एटमको बीचको तिम्रो डिस्टेन्स लियो भने दैट इज द सर्ट रेन्ज अर्डर. सर्ट रेन्ज अर्डर कुरा हो. जब हामीले चाहिँ फर्स्ट लार्ज रेन्जको अब थर्ड फोर्थ फिफ्थ तिर जान्छ दैट इज द लङ रेन्ज अर्डर. Yeah, no doubt. There is the one of the SKY equation is there. SKKY equation. So here that gives the one upon some process square type of equation is there. एउटा त one upon process square type त्यहाँ मैले सरले भने जस्तै ठ्याक्कै मैले त्यो गरिन त्यहाँ त्यो इक्वेसन हुन्छ. त्यो SKY इक्वेसन हो. त्यसले चाहिँ लङ रेन्ज अर्डर र सर्ट रेन्ज अर्डरलाई इन्टरलिङ्क गर्छ. अब मेरो थेसिस पनि मोरलेस भाइसँग रिलेटेड भयो. मैले स्पिन क्लास बिहेभियर गरेको छु. स्पिन क्लास बिहेभियर भनेको यो चाहिँ नर्मल क्लास हो र मैले चाहिँ फ्रिक्वेन्ट माने चाहिँ म्याग्नेटिक ग्लासको मैले स्टडी गरेको मैले. त्यहाँ चाहिँ मैले सर्ट रेन्ज अर्डर हेरेँ. सर्ट रेन्ज अर्डरहरू हेर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. तर इन रियल लाइफमा के हुन्छ भने नेचर आर द लङ रेन्ज अर्डर. लङ रेन्जसँग बाँधिएको छ.
आइडियोलोजी र रिलिजन अब त्यो रिलिजन हुनु भन्नु भएको नि त रिलिजन हुनु भन्नु भएको
एकछिन रोकिहाल्छु तपाईँलाई. रिलिजन हुनुहुन्न, तपाईँको आत्मिक शान्ति आध्यात्मिक चेतना तपाईँको आफ्नो शान्तिका लागि त्यो गर्नुमा पाप भएन. तर एउटा क्याम्पको रूपमा यो रिलिजन र ऊ रिलिजन यो पार्टी र ऊ पार्टी भन्ने हिसाबले हामी वैज्ञानिकहरू कालोलाई कालै सेतोलाई सेतै भन्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. हामी यो धर्म र राजनीतिमा लागिसकेपछि कहिलेकाहीँ कालोलाई सेतो सेतोलाई कालो भन्नुपर्ने बाध्यात्मक अवस्था आउँछ जो कि वैज्ञानिकको धर्म विपरीत हुन्छ. त्यो अर्थमा मात्रै भनिहाल्नु तपाईँले.
Every scientist has to be an atheist in a lab. If he is not an atheist in a lab, he is not a scientist.
Yes. अघि भाइले धर्म भनेको साइन्सको धर्म हुन्न भनेको साइन्सको मात्रै हुन्छ. साइन्सको धर्म
ल्याब भित्र थ्योरी भित्र मात्रै भनेको. अरु पर्सनल लाइफमा त you can have any belief.
I want to
please continue.
सर त्यो फिलोसोफिकल आर्गुमेन्ट छ नि सर. जस्तै हाम्रो फिलोसोफी हुन्न त्यो रिलिजन त्यो हुनुहुन्न. जस्तै हाम्रो यो इन्फिनिटी र शून्यताको कन्सेप्ट आएको भनेको त त्यो फिलोसोफिकल स्टडी अफ शून्यता दर्शन र अनन्त स्टेट अफ विष्णु होइन सर. त्यो कन्सेप्टहरू जस्तै हामीले फिलोसोफीलाई त अब जस्तै साइन्सलाई फिलोसोफीबाट हटाइयो भने त सर हाम्रो एउटा पर्सपेक्टिभ हुन्छ नि सर त्यो हट्दैन. जस्तै कुनै
एकदम राम्रो प्रश्न तपाईँले उठाउनु. You have raised a very important question. Please sit down. I'll try to answer. Okay, maybe it may not be complete answer, but I'll try my best to answer. Philosophy means seeking the wisdom, right? Philosophers are called seeker of wisdom. So when we are seeking some wisdom, okay, it needs the proof, the verification. As long as you verify something, it's a science. We accept it.
I'm trying to say that there has been more emphasis in the innovation and entrepreneurship and application and experimentation rather than the basic research for a developing country like Nepal, because you can always see the point, right? So what would be your argument? Like, what do you think about it? Can you shed some light about it?
This is another $1 million question for Nepal, especially. $1 million question. Actually, for our country context, we should emphasize as much as possible to innovation, applied sciences, okay? But doesn't mean that nobody should do fundamental science. There should be very limited green people, okay, who love philosophy, who want to translate philosophy into science. They should be given full chance to be dedicated to fundamental science. But the major chunk of people should be involved in applied science, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship. Okay, this is the need of our country now. Okay, I told you again, I'm not against fundamental scientists, but very highly qualified, genius, dedicated, okay, should be given a chance for fundamental science.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Kafle, your point.
यस्तो छ खास के हो भने पहिला कुरो त फन्डामेन्टल साइन्टिस्टहरू नभएसम्ममा तपाईँले एप्लाइड साइन्सहरू हुन सक्दैन एकदमै कन्फर्म हो यो हुनै सक्दैन किनभने पहिलो कुरोको फन्डामेन्टल एस्पेक्टै हामीले बुझ्नु पर्यो आफ्टर द्याट देन विल एप्लाइ टु द दिस थिङ्स अब ल फर इक्जाम्पल नेपाल जस्तो कन्ट्रीमा नेपाल इज थर्ड वर्ल्ड कन्ट्री नेपाल जस्तो वाट काइन्ड अफ रिसर्च इज रिक्वायर्ड कस्तो काइन्ड अफ वाट अब हामी चाहिँ कहाँ सफर गरेका छौँ हामीले सफर गरेको थ्री थिङ्सहरू छन् वान इज करप्सन सेकेन्ड इज हामी चाहिँ वाटर प्युरिफिकेसन वाटर प्योर वाटर हामीले खान पाइरहेको छैनौँ हेल्थका सेक्टरहरू हेल्थको प्रब्लम भयो अर्को चाहिँ अब हामीले वी हेभ टु मिट टुवार्ड्स द 21st सेन्चुरी वाट इज द मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेन्ट पनि त्यो फुलफिल गर्न सक्छ वी हेभ टु मुभ टुवार्ड्स द्याट थिङ्स त्यो डिरेक्सनतिर जानु पर्यो त्यस कारण त्यसको लागि फर्स्ट अफ अल वी निड द फन्डामेन्टल फिजिक्स फन्डामेन्टल साइन्सलाई एकदम स्ट्रेन्थेन गरिसकेपछि मात्र हामी फर्स्ट अफ अल फन्डामेन्टल साइन्समै स्ट्रेन्थेन छैनौँ र हामीले के गरेर चाहिँ एप्लाइड साइन्सतिरको कुरा गरिरहेको छौँ इट इज इम्पोसिबल पोसिबलै छैन किन पोसिबल छैन भन्दा भने पहिला साइन्स फन्डामेन्टल कुराहरू बुझेपछि मात्र एप्लाइड गर्ने हो र त्यसमा नै हामी पोख्त भइसकेले एप्लाइडतिर जान सकिन्छ मेरो भनाइ त्यो हो त्यस कारण हामीले चाहिँ जुन हाम्रो रिक्वायरमेन्ट हो त्यो रिक्वायरमेन्ट हामी जानलाई चाहिँ young scientists, I emphasize the young scientists to direct it towards that direction. Actually, that is in three directions. One direction is there, means corruption out remove, that is the use of nanotechnology. Second, how can we use the this means health related problem, that is the purification of water at first. Because I mean water is the khana paiyo ana pani hamro 90% road garcha.
When we talk about applied science, what we are practicing in our classroom, we teach agriculture, which is very much applied science, okay? And we grow the cauliflower with all theories on blackboard. Blackboard ma phaleko kauli khaera kasako pet bharदैन. So we have to do our applied science in real field. So agriculture should be done on the field, right? So applied science, we have to have the proper type of applied science used in our colleges, in our actual practice. So we are neither doing fundamental science properly nor doing applied science properly. So that's the situation. So if you look into it, you will understand more better.
Okay, I want to take some questions from the audience. Yes, only 3 questions will be given chances. So, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My question goes to you, sir. We talked about the mathematics, and even we are following under the fascinating theories of cosmology and astrophysics. You said they have the mathematics and have certain proofs. I want to ask, even there are more over 40 theories regarding the origin of the universe, like what Homo cyclic cosmology, what is steady state model, and all those. Obviously, they have some mathematical formulations. Each of them are well defined, I think, well functioned. So why they are in opposing way? Why? If their mathematics are correct, they must be correct.
I didn't end with the mathematics alone.
That is not just
the verification, experiment. Our observation is another important aspect of science. You should not forget. As long as it has got a mathematical formulation, it is noted down. It will be published. Your paper will be published. Okay? Your idea, your theory is promulgated, but until or unless you have the experimental, the observation backing, it will not be a foolproof science. Therefore, they look like, contradicting with each other, and the one which gets the experimental proof, that will be valid, and next will be.
त्यो फिलोसफिकल कल्चर त्यो कल्चरहरू हामीले यहाँनिर कल्टिभेट कसरी गराउने फेरि हाम्रो यो अहिले सुपर स्पिसियसमा गएको छ होइन सर अब यो साइन्ससँग रिलेटेड छ किनभने अब
that question has already been answered by him.
अब तपाईको कुरा सुन्दा सूर्य देव 7 वटा घोडामा सवार हुनुहुन्छ हामीसँग 7 कलर्स अफ लाइट छ सनलाइट अब यसरी हामीले इन्टरप्रेट गर्दै अब पृथ्वी गोलो छ भन्ने वेस्टर्न कन्सेप्ट आउनुभन्दा अगाडि हामीले भूगोल भन्ने शब्द युज गरेका थियौँ हैन अब तपाईले भने जस्तै यो मेरो एकजना संस्कृत पढेको साथीले मलाई भनेको कुरा चाहिँ के हो भने entire thermodynamics can be found in Agni Puran. One of the Purans is Agni Puran. There you find the entire clue of thermodynamics, heat and thermodynamics. This is what I have heard. But I'm sorry to say, I'm not expert. I didn't study Sanskrit to that extent. being son in a Brahmin family, I don't know Sanskrit much. And I never ventured into it. You might be right, who knows? Tomorrow that somebody will reveal entire physics is derived from the Veda and Purana. We don't know. What I know, I can tell you only that much.
फिलोसफी भनेको चाहे त्यो नेपालीमा हेर चाहे त्यो के अरे संस्कृतमा हेर चाहे साइन्समा हेर जस्तो फिलोसफी एउटै हो तिमीले सनलाई हेर्ने फिलोसफी एउटै कुराहरू हुन् र अब धेरै कुराहरू के छन् भने हो कुनै धर्मशास्त्रलाई भन त्यो के अरे बौद्धिस्टको पिरियडको हेर तिमीले चाहिँ अब यही हाम्रो वेदका कुराहरू हेर्ने अरू कुराहरूलाई हेर्ने भने पनि दे हेभ भेरी रिच इन फिलोसफी एकदम फिलोसफीमा धेरै रिच छन् उनीहरूले डिफाइन गरेको अहिले पनि अमेरिकामा हामीले भनेको छ नि मोस्ट डेभलप अमेरिकामा अझ सन के अरे चाहिँ पृथ्वी फ्ल्याट छ भन्ने कुराहरू अझै कम्युनिटी छ त तिमीले हेऱ्यौ भने अझै त्यो पृथ्वी बोल्छ भने पत्याउँदैन कतिले अझै त्यो कम्युनिटी नै छ पत्याउँदैन उसले त्यसमै इन्भेन्सन गरिरहेको छ वेदर यु बिलिभ अर नट त्यही त अहिले पनि हेऱ्यो भने नेटवर्क पाउँछौ त्यस कारण के भन्छ फिलोसफी नेभर डाइज फिलोसफीमा कुनै धर्मशर्म हुँदैन भनेको उहाँले धर्मशर्म कुनै हुँदैन त्यो फिलोसफीले के भन्छ भने एउटा दृष्टिकोणले हेर्दै गर्दा उसले चाहिँ एउटा कुरो फाइन्ड आउट गरेको छ तर त्यो फिलोसफी के भने लास्टमा फर इक्जाम्पल मैले एउटा मात्रै भनौँ हाम्रो चाहिँ माइन्ड 1 रुपियाँको चुइगम जुन चाहिँ रेडियम चुइगमहरू लिन्छौँ नि त्यो त्यसको सबै चाहिँ इनर्जी फ्लो के अरे पैसाको फ्लो त्यहाँबाट गएको छ यहाँ अमेरिका गएको छ नि त त्यसले 1 2 रुपियाँको चुइगम हुँदाखेरि 5 पैसाको ट्याक्स चाहिँ तिम्रो अमेरिका गएको छ means that is science. That is not related to science. How? That is related. Many lines of course also connect in their directions. If we discuss the water current also flows in that direction. One scientist, एउटा साइन्टिस्टले के भनेको छ भने केही शताब्दीको पछि यो चेन्ज हुन्छ वाटर करेन्ट चेन्ज हुन्छ many lines of flow पनि चेन्ज हुन्छ सबै चेन्ज हुन्छ र इभन मनी फ्लो पनि चेन्ज हुन सक्छ means that is the philosophy. तर त्यो एक्ज्याक्ट साइन्स हो कि होइन मलाई थाहा छैन त्यसैले भने आई डोन्ट नो भन्नुपर्छ त्यसलाई तर फिलोसफी भनेको फिलोसफी साइन्समा पनि एउटै हो धार्मिक साइन्स जुनसुकै कुराहरूले गर्दा फिलोसफी डजन्ट रिक्वायर एनी भनेर यो धर्म हो यो हो भन्दै
Thank you so much, sir, for your insight.
We'll have another session in future to talk about philosophy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So, since we are short of time, I regret to say that we are concluding this panel discussion. We will have discussion like this in future.
That was indeed an interesting discussion, and I think we could go on forever when we are talking about this topic. I'd like to call upon Raju, Sharma, Khatiwada to hand over a token of love to our distinguished panelists. Firstly, Associate Professor Dr. Gopi Chandra Kafle. And Dr. Suresh Kumar Dhungel.
I promise to keep in touch with you for
similar
session.
And I'd like to call upon Akash, the Research Director, to give the certificate to our moderator.